Hey everybody, we are going to look at an Epson 84 Plus, and we're going to go over disassembly and the areas to clean in this series of projector. This particular projector uses an LP50, and that's what this specifically will be dealing with, that series of projector that takes the LP50. The methods and part of the disassembly can carry over to many other Epson models and even other manufacturers that are LCD. But for the purposes of this, we're going to be referring to the LP50 lamp projector series, which is the 84 Plus, the 85 Plus, and some others. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure we have a place to put the screws. Second thing we're going to do is remove the lamp. And before we remove the lamp, I guess we will do something else, which is make sure it's unplugged. Make sure it's definitely unplugged so that you don't hurt yourself and so you don't damage the projector. People heal, projectors don't. So to remove the lamp, we're going to loosen this screw on the back. The screw will not come all the way out. It's a captive screw inside the door. Door slides back a little bit, about 3/4 of an inch, and lifts off. There's a little tabs there that lock it into place, and there's I think it's this tab here presses on the door switch in here that tells the projector when the switch is, or when the door is closed. Next thing we're going to do is take out the lamp, and there's 2 Phillips screws on either side. These are also captive. You'll hear them hop when they get to the top. You can hear like a little click right there. That's how you know it's out all the way. Then just grab the handle and pull straight up. The lamp comes out. Give the lamp a little bit of an examination. You want to make sure nothing's melting. You will probably see some discoloration on the plastic near the exhaust. Right here. The air gets blown in here and it comes out here. So you will see some discoloration, but this metal should still be silver. It shouldn't become a darker color. Kind of like this did. Now this gets really hot, so that's okay. But this should not turn colors. Let's put the lamp off to the side, and we can start with to remove all the top. Now, to remove the top, we need to remove the filter. This has a replaceable filter on this side. Just push that latch to the back, then that door flips down. Now we can take this door off or leave it on. I'm going to take it off just so that it doesn't get in the way. You could leave it on, but to take it off, just get a flathead screwdriver and gently push on this side of the hinge. Then the door will come off. The filter is shot on this one. We'll take that out, and I will replace the foam. I'm actually just going to take all the old foam out, and I'll glue in some new foam. It's nothing special. It's just, I don't know, 1/8 inch thick, 2 millimeter thick open cell foam. And then I'll just glue it in, cut 2 pieces and glue it in. Next, we're going to take the first screw out. That's this screw right here. It's the other reason we got to get in there. And I believe that is all the screws on the top. It is. Next, we're going to remove the 9 screws, I believe, from the bottom. Pretty sure that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. All right, we'll flip it back over. And now the top should just lift off. So to lift the top off, it's going to grab the sides. I'm going to lift gently, making sure nothing's stuck or being held in place, because there are 2 more wires we have to disconnect to actually take this off. The first wire is right here. It's a twisted black wire. Let's see if I can zoom you in. Right there. That goes to the door switch here. Tells it when it's open or closed. Then there's a second wire. This goes to the keyboard. Just lift up on the sides of the connector just a little bit, just a tiny bit, and that'll come free. And now we can set the top out of the way. And here's the insides of the projector itself. Now this projector is already clean, so we're not going to see any dust, but the places to look are crevices, edges, anywhere air passes through. You would see buildup in here. You would see buildup in the exhaust fan there on the edges, the blades. You would see dust. The fan in here for the one side of the LCD has a little bit of dust on it, but not much. That's fine. And this projector, if I remember correctly, has 5 fans. 1, 2, 3. There's a 4th one right here for the power supply. And then there's a flat 5th one in the bottom of here. And that's the fan that we're interested in, because that's one that blows the air out right there. Now to get to that fan, we do have to take the main board out. This is probably the hardest part of everything, is taking this board out. And it's not that hard, it's just you have to do it in steps. So the first thing we're going to do is disconnect all the wires. Now the wires are usually keyed to only go in the same connector they came out of. But I know there's 2 fans over here where it can switch. This is the ballast. That's the infrared. Low voltage power. Exhaust fan. You can see it's marked there, EX fan. This is the auto iris. It's a little tight, but it pops out. Lamp thermometer or thermal sensor. The lamp door switch. And then the power supply fan. It's right there, power fan. So once those are all out, you need to take the LCD wires out. And they have little clips that just flip up. And then the wires just slide right out. Be careful with these flat flex. They can bend and crack if you're not careful. So to take the board out, at this point we just have 2 screws to remove. You know, the black one here, and then the silver one there. There's one more wire. This black and white wire over here, it's a speaker, plugs in the back of the board. So what I'm going to do is just kind of lift and wiggle on the board until things start to pop free. That little, there we are, the iris wire was hooked on it. I fold it back, and then there's that speaker wire. So unplug that. And we'll set the main board off to the side. So the fan we're worried about is underneath. It's actually right under the LCD area here. So we can get a flashlight on it. You should be able to see some of the blades if I can get the angle just right. I'll zoom in a little more. There you go. You can see the blades right there. And this one's clean, but that's where you want to make sure it's clean. You could take all of this out, but there's really no reason. All you have to do is get some air into here and blow the dust out, then put some more air under there to blow more dust out. When you go in this way, it should loosen up the dust. When you blow the air in that way, that should kind of get it out of there. If there's some dust left, that's fine. There's really no reason to take all of this out. You can create more problems than you can fix. I definitely do not recommend removing all these screws and taking the top of this off and cleaning the glass. You can definitely cause problems there. If you decide to do it, that's on you. But I don't recommend it unless you really, really, really have to. And I'm not going to be covering that in this video. So to clean that, like I said, we're going to put some air in here. Now I have my compressor turned down pretty low, and I'm only going to crack the valve. It's a little squeezy thing, just a little bit. And we'll see if we can hear the fan spin up. A little bit, yeah. And then quick little blast should kind of shock the dust free. And then just maybe a little bit of pressure, just kind of. Then get the fan, get the exhaust fan, and then the LCD fans through the filter area. And then the power supply fan right there. And that's really all you should have to do. You don't want to overdo it, because if you spin the fans too fast with the air or get too aggressive, you can definitely damage things. So now it's clean, and we can put it back together. Alright, so for reassembly, we're going to put the main board back in first. To do that, we need to plug the speaker back in. And then we need to make sure the LCD wires are kind of pointing up. Just kind of give them a little squeeze so they're pointing more up in the air. And then make sure the rest of your wires are tucked back out of the way so they're not going to get pinched underneath when we set the board back in. Essentially set the board straight down, and then when you get near the LCD wires, just take your screwdriver and just guide the wires through the holes. Come on, there we go. And then hopefully there's built-in springiness will help them push through the rest of the way. Take your time. And then the board will drop down. This wire can be a little annoying. You do have to get the board to kind of get under that little lip. Then there's a pin here and a pin here that allow the board to seat. And we can start putting screws back in. The one thing I should mention is this particular projector that I'm working on is a used projector, and I believe there was some damage to it at one point. I found some plastic bits, and I'm pretty sure that's missing a screw. It wasn't there when I opened it. So you may have those. Just keep that in mind. Steps are still the same otherwise. So put that back in. That's in, so now the board is secure. Now we can start plugging things back in. I like to start with the LCDs and going from there. So the LCDs, they go about halfway in. You'll see a mark on the wire. You can see it right there, about halfway across. That's how far it's going to go in the connector. You can even see there's some Sharpie on it from the factory. Just make sure they're straight, and then just lock the thing down. Same thing with this one. Sometimes I'll get the flathead and just kind of use it to help walk these in. Let's go on either side and give it little pushes until you can latch it. I like to leave them like this so there's a little bit up in case you need to get in there again. Just keeps it more, keeps it happier. Then we can plug the rest back in. I have a thermal sensor for the air intake, and then it's another thermal sensor, and then this is the lamp fan connector right here, and then this is an LCD fan, this one. Then the other LCD fan is this one, fan 2 they call it, so I guess the other one's fan 1, fan 2. This is the ballast control. That one's open until we put the cover on. And we have the IR. Then the low voltage. Pardon me. It's going to go here. And then the power supply. Nope, exhaust fan. Just kind of guide your wires carefully. And then the auto iris, it's for dynamic contrast. Then temperature sensor for the lamp, this guy. Oops, there we are. Set that all down there. And then power supply fan. There we go. And the last connector on the inside is the lamp door switch. This one that tells it when the cover is on. Now this one can be tricky. Try to fold it back how it was when you opened it, because you can't block this hole. Kind of tuck it in like that. I find that it'll just kind of hold itself if you get it tucked in right. Because there's the, oops, there's the door switch right there. Zoom you back out. All right, so now we should be able to put the top back on. Let's give it a once over, make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope. All right, so then to put the top back on, I'm gonna make sure that connector's lifted up again. And then we're going to plug in the keyboard wire just till it goes down all the way. You may have to hold that connector up a little just so this slides in easier. There we go. Then we have the door switch for the lens cover switch, and that plugs in. Then the top really should just drop back on. There should not be anything pushing up on it, and there's not. So the first case screw I'm going to put in is this one over here. And then we're going to put all the bottom screws in. Now I'm not going to use the drill for this because these screws strip out too easy. And they have very coarse threads, so they're very easy to put in by hand. I find even with low clutch settings, these screws can strip the threads out very quickly. Now the only thing I have left to address with this is the filter. The filter on this one is gone. It's just, you know, you saw it was too dry rotted. So I do need to cut foam for that. But the case is now back together. We'll put the lamp back in. Again, that just drops in, give it a little push. and then snug the screws down. Don't make these too tight. If they get too tight, they won't come out very easily. There we go. And then we're going to put the door on. And then we'll snug this down as well. Just snug, just till it stops. And then before we do the filter, the last thing is to put the filter door back on. Again, we'll get a flathead. And then we'll start the door, put the hinge in on that side, and just give it a little push till it starts, and then wiggle. There we go. There we go. And now that's closed. So the only thing I have left to do is deal with the filter, and you can pretty much figure out what to do there. So we'll pretend the filter is good here, and we'll open the filter door, and we'll pop the filter in with that invisible foam. And that's it. That's all there is to it. It's now clean and ready to be tested. To test it, we'll just try firing it up first. Plug in the power cord, and we should get a standby light, which we do. Open the door. It's very important. And we should have it come on any second. There we go. Starting up. And then there's the picture. So that's how you disassemble and clean an Epson Powerlight 84 Plus. Thank you for watching.